Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I want to talk about toxic cultural traits that I've noticed in the United States ever since I began my vacation here in Taiwan. I find that it is a lot easier to stick to your health goals here in Taiwan, right? If you go out with a bunch of friends and you have to avoid food, even if you eat nothing at the event and just socialize with them, it doesn't stick out, right? People can live and let live, and sometimes people won't even notice that I'm not eating anything, right? I can even tell these people straight up, I have autistic tendencies and I do better without this stuff. Thank you so much. If somebody prepared the food, maybe even appreciate how it looks and all that, and just eat with my eyes is how I like to call it, right? Because not everything has to be eaten with your mouth, right? I make stuff that people can only eat with their eyes all the time, right? Bismuth art, Lego builds, right? And I think food can be the same way, right? And people can live and let live with that. Also, at social events, and more generally, it is more acceptable to be money conscious here in Taiwan. So earlier today, my credit cards got frozen, and I went through my suitcase and realized I had a few $100s worth of foreign currencies that I could trade. And when I went to the bank, I did some comparison shopping, and back home in the U.S., people would think that's a huge waste of time. But here in Taiwan, it's much more acceptable. I didn't feel it's a waste of time because I kind of wanted to sightsee a little bit anyway. So I walked 3 blocks to another bank. I needed to do that anyway, right? And here in the Taiwan, it is a lot more acceptable to do that. Getting back to that food issue, I'm getting a little bit nervous about returning to work. Here's why. I find that during my trip here in Taiwan, it was very easy for me to fast 16, 17, 18, sometimes 30 some hours every day without even having to think. And I mean it when I say without even having to think about it. Now, why is it hard for me to do that at the workplace? For one, at the workplace, I'm not at liberty to eat whenever I want to. Now, wouldn't that be good for fasting? Not really. Because if I have a big assignment later in the day, and even though I'm not hungry now, I might be forced to eat. And the other issue is that offices are full of noise to eat, right? Your coworkers chomping away at something, smells, and there's just too much. Here at the hostel, I can walk away if there's a distraction like that. And so I really wish we had an office environment that was conducive to healthy living. I really feel I don't need to tell you guys that there's a lot of debate on healthy workplace conditions. And I'm very disheartened. Every time I hear healthy conditions, it's about how much weight people have to lift. It's about comfortable chairs. It's about having enough bathroom breaks. Are those not important? No, they're important, but I think that only touches the surface. I really do. Um, And here in Taiwan, it's a lot more acceptable. I would imagine if I had an office job here in Taiwan, I could even bring that up. God, I hate those mosquitoes. I love the outside environment, but I'm gonna have to think about what to do about that. I go out 30. Like this video is only 4 minutes so far, and already it's like my skin is on fire. Okay, hopefully people won't complain about the noise here. But what did I say? Very easy to keep your own healthy goals. People don't intrude. Very easy to keep good financial goals. Another thing I've noticed is that people, so I'm kind of already feeling guilty about recording this video here because people are much more sensitive to other people's personal space and not creating a lot of drama when you're out in public. And what else did I can't even think. I want to go outside, but I'm going to get bit all over. I guess that's the price I pay for coming to Taiwan relative to all the good stuff here. But I just find that it is so hard to keep personal goals here of all sort, because people think they know your life better than you know you, right? People think you should splurge a little bit. People, yeah, leave it up to me. I think I'm old enough to understand that there is junk food and they taste good. Well, I don't think they taste good. They dull your taste buds until only junk food tastes good. I understand how money works, right? I understand that I can splurge if I wanted to. I don't think at my age I need to be reminded that, right? That's the thing that bothers me the most, right? That people think I have to be reminded about these things, that they exist and that I could do them. Um, the other thing is that we understand that people have differences in lifestyles. So, for example, one of the biggest problems I routinely run into is that I live my life very differently than a lot of my colleagues, and so when I decide to take a day off for something, see, here's the way I look at it. Here's the way that it plays out. My colleague takes a day off to tend to their kids. I take a day off to uh, go out on a date or whatever, and in my boss's mind, my colleague is practicing good work-life balance. I'm procrastinating. They get colored with two different brushes, right? Is the way I would describe it. Here in Taiwan, first of all, people don't feel the need to intrude as much, right? A day off is a day off, right? It doesn't need to be uh, discussed at the office, I would imagine. Um, and there's more of an understanding that everybody enjoys their life differently, right? Just like when I was trying to save a few bucks exchanging the money and asking around, it's just that, right? It doesn't affect other people, and I go to a different bank and exchange, right? And that's that, right? Or when I went to the restaurant, I couldn't find anything, but I still had good conversation with the rest of the table, right? I find it so much easier to navigate these things without all of the hiccups. Uh, but I'm gonna have to think hard because I'm very upset at how my work pigeonholes how I can practice good eating hygiene. Right. Uh, Back home, it is so hard for me to push through a 14-hour fast. You got to understand that the office environment, there's triggers to eat, there's social pressure, there's also just the scheduling pressure, right? Here in Taiwan, now that I'm on break, I'm at liberty to eat whenever I want to. It actually makes it easier to fast, knowing that I could always eat next hour if I needed to. Makes it easier to fast. I propose eating ought to be considered like a human right to do wherever you want, right? So, unless there's a compelling reason, I think we should make it illegal for any workplace or public setting to prohibit eating, unless there's a good reason. If you're working with nuclear chemistry, if you're uh, if you're working in somewhere where if you're eating something that your colleague might be allergic to, yeah, I can see that kind of case. But short of that, right? I want it to be popular to eat while you're teaching in the classroom, right? I know it sounds foreign because we're not accustomed to it. I want it to be popular to eat anywhere, right? Um, Obviously, if you make a mess, you make a mess, right? That's a different story than eating, right? Plenty of people can eat without making a disaster of themselves. Um, but uh, yeah, I I would propose that it be considered a human right to eat whenever and wherever you want, right? Whether you call it a human right or some kind of workplace right? Just like your workplace can't stop you from going to the bathroom, right? I want that to be more of a workplace right. Number two, I want it to be socially popular to be financially sane, right? So, for example, at a social gathering here in Taiwan, if I suggest, hey, can we do something a little bit less expensive? That's being smart. Over in the U.S., that's being cheap, and makes it very difficult to network with people. Very different attitude. Very different attitude. I want it to. I want there to be more education on. See, part of the reason that I keep bringing up the noises and the ordering people around, I am autistic. I make a silly mistake when somebody orders me around. It can take me hours just for me to regain my mental balance, and uh, that's why I lose a lot of work sometimes. Right? I do something silly at work accidentally, and somebody barks at me, "Sir, you can't go there," or "Excuse me, but that," and I lose my mental balance. And I've been late to classrooms because of that. I've had all sorts of drama because of that. Not that I want to, but it's very infuriating, and I wish we had more education about that. Like I said, 3% of us, it's probably more, but 3% of us are autistic. Imagine, imagine if the world were limiting in a way that, like I said in my last video, if we didn't have good facilities to accommodate color blindness, right? Imagine if our street signs were designed such a way that if you were colorblind, they made it difficult. Imagine if uh like I said in my last video, that I was mentioning how TSA was barking at me. Imagine if the TSA line were very difficult to use for somebody with a wheelchair, right? I think there would be a huge uproar about that, right? Just because autism doesn't usually come with equipment and visibility doesn't mean that it's less important, right? Uh, what else did I say that was I felt disadvantaged? Oh, I want it to be popular to we talk about this remote work. I want remote work to be popular when the weather is hot. Like when the weather goes above 110 degrees over in Phoenix, I think that should be an automatic remote work day. Or if the weather goes below 20 in like Rochester, New York, that should be automatic remote work, right? At the very least, right? Even if we don't want to go completely remote, I don't, because I love all of my students. Okay. God, I hate these mosquitoes. Taiwan would be perfect, just minus the mosquitoes. I gotta figure that out. Uh, Maybe I need to get like some kind of spacesuit of some sort. Uh, I wonder if I got an idea. I can get a suit made of some kind of radiation shielding material, and then I'll put some radioactive material on the outside of it to kill those mosquitoes. I wonder if that would work. So maybe a suit full of bismuth, but with the outermost skin of bismuth activated into polonium, and I could wear that so that the radiation doesn't get to me, but it kills all the mosquitoes on the outside. I wonder if that would work. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.